Hey guys, today we want to learn about Gyroflow, the awesome open source video stabilization software commonly used for FPV drones. And with this new update, you can also stabilize a RAW file from your Blackmagic camera. You can strap on a Cinelifter, for example. We probably all know it has been working with GoPro gyro data before. That's what RealSteady has been doing for a while. But the team from Gyroflow implemented more and more file formats for gyro data sources. After Blackmagic finally released a new firmware for the Pocket Cinema camera lineup, the 4K, 6K and 6K Pro, the already inbuilt gyroscope now writes gyro data or movement basically to your RAW files, actually the Blackmagic B-RAW file. And since Gyroflow is commonly used for FPV drones, this update now lets you also stabilize your Cinelifter footage without extra equipment. You get a Blackmagic camera and you want to use Gyroflow. The first step would be updating to the latest firmware from the Blackmagic website. I got the link in my video description. And the second step would be the camera configuration. Set your camera to the Blackmagic RAW codec. Select the bitrate that fits your needs or the requirements for your project, and then select 4K DCI. Most Gyroflow lens presets or calibrations are in this resolution as well. 4K DCI means I'm basically using the whole sensor of my 4K camera maximum resolution. If you're on a 6K or 6K Pro, you might alter that setting. If your camera or lens is not included in the presets you download with Gyroflow in the folder, you can always generate your own preset with the Gyroflow calibration mode. At the time I made this video, the latest released version 1.10 on the Gyroflow GitHub does not support the Blackmagic RAW file yet for gyro data. Therefore, we need to download the last automated build or beta from the link in the description. Since Gyroflow can only read the gyro data from the RAW file, we need to convert that RAW file into another video format first to use it as video source for Gyroflow. I'm on DaVinci Resolve 18, so I would import my RAW file, then switch to the color tab and open the camera RAW option to correct ISO and, as in my case here, also the white balance. Since we're working on a 12-bit lock that unpacks to a 16-bit RAW file in DaVinci Resolve, I would also do most of my color and exposure corrections before exporting into another video format, as all RAW information will be lost. The highest quality codec here would be DNxHR. If you're converting on a Mac or another software, for example, you could already export in ProRes as well. I'm selecting here a 12-bit container for my purpose. Make sure you're maintaining the whole clip length for Gyroflow to sync with the gyro data afterwards. You should now have two huge files on your computer and probably need to upgrade your storage, because after the Gyroflow stabilization, we will even export a third one. Now it's time to open up Gyroflow and load our converted video file. You then search for a camera lens preset. I was using a Laowa 7.5mm lens on my Cinelifter that day, and I select the DCI 4K resolution. Gyroflow automatically applies a lens correction to your video. On the bottom left, we select our B-RAW file for the gyro data and let it run the numbers. As soon as it's finished, I would scroll down to the graph section and check the gyro traces. This day I had a damaged prop on my Taurus X8 after hard landing, so I know already this is going to be a little noisier. Those are supposed to be lines, but as most of my viewers here are flying drones, you might probably want to go to the left and activate the low pass filter. Default setting is 50 and you can definitely tell the difference. I also don't know what low pass setting the internal gyro of the Blackmagic cam has, so I would rather lose some information through this 50 Hz low pass filter than not being able to sync with my video. My next step would be setting the in and out point. We have then successfully finished the left section and can now move over to the synchronization. The default setting is 2 sync points. For example, if you want to change a setting and want the defaults back, just click right and reset. I think 2 sync points should be okay to check out the auto sync results, and then we think about our next steps. It takes like 10 seconds and we'll see 2 yellow markers with numbers appear in your graph. If those sync points have completely different or high values, I'd remove them and search a clean spot with movement on the trace and manually add another sync point to confirm, which I did here. All 3 sync points in my case have almost the same value. I would therefore remove one and call it a successful sync. If you even want to go one step further, you could zoom in and compare those 2 traces with the darker one from the gyro data and the bright one at the sync point from the video analysis. In my case, those match perfectly and should hopefully not cause any issues for the stabilization afterwards. We can then close the sync section and play with the stabilization values. I would usually pull down the FOV setting where I can see the black borders to check if it's moving smoothly or not, but then switch back to the default value 1 to see the end result for the export. You could then change the smoothness or dynamic zooming, which I leave here at the default. Another cool feature of the Blackmagic RAW file is that it also logs the frame readout time of the sensor, and Gyroflow automatically applies it for the rolling shutter correction. You can see that the picture straightens itself out. I did a little comparison with the different codecs provided to compare file size and bitrate. As you see, the ProRes files, which are probably most common for commercial shots, have the highest bitrate, highest file size, and should therefore also have the highest video quality. I rendered the same clip with all different codecs to get that conclusion. Because I'm on a Windows machine and working on DaVinci Resolve, I still use the DNxHR codec in a 10-bit container here exported from Gyroflow, and then work on my edit. After the export and stabilization is done, you now have a second file with your stabilized video. If you pull it back into Gyroflow, you get the codec and pixel format to compare if you need. If you liked the video and found it helpful, please leave a like for the YouTube algorithm, and hope I see you next time.